This episode, we are full on spoilers for both the books and the show. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Max.
I'm Sean.
I'm Oliver's Ears.
And I'm Glenn the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation, YouTube channel that reviews adaptations from one format to another. We are continuing with the fourth season of The Expanse, doing 2 episodes tonight. We're doing episodes 6 and 7. That is Displacement and A Shot in the Dark. And we have a returning guest. Did you see? We haven't had him here since season 1. Sean the Gleeman, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back.
Yes, good to see you, man. You got anything going on you want to tell us about?
Last time I was on here, no, but since then I have my own podcast where me and a couple of my friends talk about cryptids. We're called The Night Scholars. You can find us on Spotify or on YouTube under the channel Phantom Ashes.
Nice. And we will get the link to put in the doobly-doo later. It'll be there for you guys watching tomorrow. And how often do you guys air?
Twice a month. Try to.
Twice a month. Okay. Sounds fun. Mitch, how are you tonight?
Doing well. Hope everyone else is in good shape tonight.
Doing all right. So, Max, what can you tell us about tonight's episode?
Well, things go from bad for worse for Avaslara, and Holden has an excellent day.
Yeah.
The director for episode 6 was Jeff Wolno. I have here listed as what he was known for. Vikings, Moonstruck, Battlestar Galactica, being Erica.
Yeah.
The writer for this episode is Haley Lambert. She doesn't really have much for writing. We see a few additional crew stuff for like How I Met Your Mother, Almost Human. But she does have these staff writing lists for Expanse.
Yes.
For, all the seasons.
That's impressive.
The next episode, 7, the director Sarah Harding, list of the shows. We got Vikings again as a returning show. Expanse, obviously. The Man Who Fell to Earth. Let's see if there's anything else that looks relatively, I don't know, well known. Not that I'm really seeing.
There's a few shows names there that I recognize, but not many.
Yeah. Mm-mm. And then the returning writer is Dan Nowak. He has a few shows that he's known for. And then, like in this season, he did episode 3, 7, and 8.
All right. You said things go from bad to worse for Avasarala. I came to a conclusion watching the show, rewatching the episodes this weekend, that everything bad that happens on the show on Illis is all her fault.
No.
She okayed the RCE charter to go to Illis. If they had never gone to Illis, Holden would never have gone to Illis, and it wouldn't have keyed off the proto-molecule waking up and doing everything that it did, which is why everything goes so bad in this episode.
I don't think I'd put it on her shoulders. I wouldn't do that.
It goes on to the UN's shoulders, granting that charter to the RCE, especially already knowing there were people there. They had no business doing that.
Well,
but
she didn't do it.
That's where
some committee did it. Some committee somewhere did it.
The buck stops here.
But the Belters were already there, so they're also at fault for being there and forcing Avasarala's hand.
If they hadn't sent anybody there, just let the Belters be, what hand would there have been to force? If they were just there and if they had been left alone, I don't think any of this would have happened. And then we wouldn't have had a story. So I got to say, I'm glad Avasarala's UN government gave approval for the RC because that gave us a season and a book to watch.
Got to have that inciting incident.
So, Max, what's our first question of the night?
Your favorite one is what changed from the source material, and did those changes impact your enjoyment of the episode?
Oh, well, so much changed. Mitch, you got a list?
I don't have an actual list today, but I'm going to go on my usual rant.
Go for it.
Miss Havelock. The story,
Yes.
his story in the books covering this time frame, he makes a fateful decision and does the RCE dirty. And we're not getting any of this. And I think it would have made for some really great tense moments if they could have somehow brought him in and made it happen. But alas, nope.
Yeah. I've said it before. Everything in Orbit, especially the Havelock chapters and chapters that he's in, that's my favorite part of the book.
Mm-hmm.
By far.
The Havelock chapters are interesting. That's true.
Yeah. Especially
Any
in
other
the
changes?
context that we already know him from from the show.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you can picture the actor going through the motions and such. In fact, I was rereading a number of the chapters this week, and every time Murtry has a line, all I can hear is the actor.
Freaking Burn Gorman. I feel you.
No, yeah.
See, I don't have that problem. As much as I love, Burn Gorman, I picture Burn Gorman's face. But when I'm listening to the book, I'm still hearing the version of Murtry that, oh, Lord, I can't think of his name now. The narrator of the audiobooks. His name, Jefferson Mays. He had a ship named after him on the show. That's why I just got to remember him the name of the ship. He does some really good voices for each of these characters. The two that stand out for me with Jefferson's narration, more so than their voices from the show, is his Amos and his Avasarala are the voices I hear in my head when I'm watching the show and those two characters talk. I still see all the actors when I listen to the book, but I hear some of the voices when I watch the show, if that makes sense.
No, I get it.
Yeah, sure.
I love his Avasarala, and his Amos is just great.
Well, everything Amos is amazing, so you can never have too much Amos.
Yeah. So was there any changes that stood out to you that may or may not have affected your enjoyment?
Rereading the book this week has been interesting, and because there's a line specifically about this episode 6, where they said the tsunami won't reach the encampment, and I thought it was an interesting choice to have the continent be hit by the tsunami. It gave just a bigger peril than the radioactive rain, and just gave it something more immediate, something you can picture. Oh, this is a giant flood. But besides that, anything and everything involving Bobby Draper, I was here for. She is a fascinating character, and her time on Mars is great.
Yeah, I love Bobby.
After the first episode, I was like, I'm not really sure I like all this, but at this point in the season, I am full in Team Bobby.
Okay.
Now, had you read any of the novellas or
I
just
have
the
not.
main novels? Okay. This is sort of, her storyline here is sort of borrowed from one of them. Gods of Risk, I think it is.
Okay.
Sort of borrowed. It's changed, but it's inspired from that. But it was necessary to keep Bobby in the show, and I like it. I think it might be my favorite part of the episode too. These two episodes is everything Bobby.
One other thing I did find fascinating rereading the book is the choice to switch Bazia and Lucia, their point of view is have her up in orbit and instead of him. I just thought that dynamic was a little bit more interesting.
Right.
And I couldn't explain why.
Mitch, didn't you say they had an explanation on their podcast, Mitch? Oh,
It wasn't me. Goodness,
Somebody
it
watched the
might have been
podcast.
reverse BLT that
Okay.
had noticed or
Okay.
picked up something there.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't
There
know.
was somebody mentioned a podcast. I can't remember what they were talking about that.
And I didn't have a chance to listen to it this week.
You know, when you're talking about the tsunami earlier, I just placed where this picture I got from IMDb came from.
Yep, that's a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
LV.
One of my
And it's
favorite
like-
characters in this book.
You know, I'm
She is great.
trying to recall, like, when I read the book, like, I couldn't remember, like, I vaguely recall them hiding out in the alien ruins. Like,
Mhm.
vaguely remember that, 'cause it's been a while since I read the book. And so, like, did that actually happen or not? Were they making that up?
No,
And
that happened.
yeah, like I said, I try and recall that. And then, like, Holden almost gets his head chopped off again. You know, had to repeat the Indiana Jones scene. Doesn't get his hat.
Yeah.
It would have been better with the hat. That's true.
I can go with the hat.
Well, he got it the first time, but there was no hat this time. So,
Now, I don't know if
All
any
right.
of you really picked up on it in the books. There are only 4 points of view. You've got Bossia,
LV,
LV,
Havelock.
Hawk, and Holden. So I don't remember if we brought this up last time. I may have thought of it in the meantime, but I think because we never get Murtry's point of view in the books,
Mm-hmm.
we're always looking at him from the outside. And all of his motivations are only what we see. We never hear what's going on in his head. Yet here in the show, Murtry is actually opening up a bit to Way regarding you know some of the inner machinations going on there. And I really like being able to get that side of him, as evil as it may be. I think it's just really nice that we were able to get that, something we never get from the books.
He still needs to be shot, but it was interesting to hear his motivations.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and it's different motivations than the book. Maybe we don't know because we never really get to see inside of his mind that much, like because of the structure that they use. But I don't know. I think I hate show Murtry even more than I hate book Murtry, and even with motivations, you would think that motivations would help you understand him more, or at least make it make sense. But I think he's a nastier piece of work than and like the question you asked earlier, you weren't sure who you hate more, this guy or the other guy.
I mean,
here's a
Marco's
possibility for you. Was that the guy who came on board that took over?
Looks like him.
Well, that's
the space station guy.
That's the space station guy.
That's
That
the
took
guy
over,
from the Typhon or something like that.
Yeah, it took over
went
for.
Threatened to take over.
Yeah. Hey, him a little bit more than Murtry.
No, he was just annoying.
No,
Yeah, I agree. Just annoying.
just an annoying military prick.
Yeah,
Murtry's a piece of shit.
that is correct.
Nasty, mean, evil, rotten piece of shit.
Drink for
And
that.
even Elvie comes to realize how nasty he is.
Glenn, don't hold back.
She's pretty naive when it comes to that.
Well, are you talking about book Murtry or are we talking about show Murtry?
Yes.
That's the correct answer. It's yes. It's possible show Murtry might be worse because you do understand his motivations and he's not just this asshole in charge, but he's an asshole in charge who's doing it for the money.
Yep. Well, and also book Murtry seems to get worse and worse and worse as he goes.
Yes.
Whereas show Murtry seems to be on a little more of a roller coaster because in some circumstances he's a complete jerk. In other circumstances, it's what can I do to help? So he goes through some waves of differentiation. Let's call it. I don't know, bad word, but in the book, he just continually gets worse.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he's losing his mind in the book.
that's entirely possible. But it's interesting you bring out him helping Mitch because
It's the brain worms.
He's not RFK. But so lost my train of thought there for a second.
Sorry.
But I 100% believe that he's helping in the show to ensure the survival of his people. Like, if helping here ensures my people live, I will help. If not, I'm not going to do a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think Book Mercury really cares about his people.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He makes it quite clear in the book because, and this is where part of why I think he's going crazy, because this logic here doesn't work. He thinks by stopping Holden, he's keeping the planet the way it is. So what if it kills everybody in orbit and on the planet because the whole nuclear physics doesn't work? He's not. He's leaving it pristine for RCE to come in and get all their money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Failing to realize how the fuck is RCE going to land on the planet to study it?
That's a future problem.
Shit in orbit is still working that way because you didn't let Holden turn it off. How's RCE going to make money off of this? They can't touch the planet. They're stuck.
Yeah.
So his logic is screwing RCE, which, as smart as he's supposed to be, he doesn't see that. And I'm just like, I think his mind broke at some point in the book. I'm not exactly sure when, but it sure seems like his mind broke and he's just not thinking straight or rationally at all.
Maybe when they wrote the books and they rolled those D20s to make those decisions, when they wrote the show, they re-rolled those dice and see what happens.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Did they roll with advantage or disadvantage, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
For Holden, disadvantage. For Mercury, advantage.
Yeah.
Because you got to make sure he makes
Ben, how you doing tonight? This morning? I hope you have a good rest when you lay down. All right, where are we at, Max? We're still on question 1. Did anybody else have any other changes? Did it affect the way you felt about the show? I don't think it did. Not really.
No, well, I think it was better.
Yeah, the only changes I can think of that affected the show are the fact that we've got Avasarala and Bobby brought into the show and doing magnificent stuff. So I'm real happy with those changes that they made in incorporating these stories at this point in the series.
It gives the show motivation because the book is solely focused on the planet, but you get to see how this planet is affecting the entire universe. It's like everybody is rooting for something different on this planet.
Yep. And you're waiting for Bobby to really take that taser on one of these guys.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just someone to hold it there.
Bobby Draper is always good, in my opinion, when it comes to the show, because in the show and book, she's tied for my favorite character in the books and show, and that's Alex Kamal and her are my favorite characters. But yeah, I love those two characters, and more of them I get, the more happy I am. So yeah, give me more Bobby, and Frankie is perfect as Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. She had some well, I'll get to that when we go to discuss actors, but I'll be
that's fair.
Later.
All right.
Well, our next question is favorite scenes or dialogue, and you can do one for each episode or both.
Yeah.
Or
I'll let you gents go first. How about you, Sean?
Favorite scene. For episode 6, it's probably a Bobby doing her thing in the tower. She's like, all right, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to make sure we succeed. And I'm not going to be afraid. Like, I don't have much air. That's fine. I don't need much air. like I will do what it takes. Like I'm in this all the way now. It's just showing her commitment. For the second scene, for the second episode, it has to be Avasarala losing her mind on her consultant. She's like, why did I hire you? You're making me look weak. Or what was her line? And when we have another Eros on our hands and our planet is burning, at least we can say we did the right thing.
Yeah.
She did a good rant there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Avasarala was the queen of that episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing her in another show that we all enjoy.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Oh,
That will be interesting.
goodness.
How about you, Mitch?
Well, you stole my Bobby and the beanstalk routine. I thought, it's hard not to love Bobby. One thing that she did do right after she's disabled the guy with the taser, and they have their little conversation, and they all start walking away. She gets this beautiful little smirk on her face just before she pulls out her communicator and calls her boyfriend and asks, what you up to. That smirk was just perfect. I just love how she can emote sometimes.
That led to a great line a couple minutes later, after that, and she's getting dressed and he says, I got to admit, I feel used. And she says, I can assure you absolutely were. And I'm just like, yep. Yep. Called her booty call. Made a booty
she's so good. The other one that I really, really love is that bit when Amos is about to crawl down into the ruin and Wade leans over and gives him a kiss and he asks, what's that for?
Yeah.
Just absolute Amos. It's just so perfect. He only has one love, and that's his crewmates. Other than that, people are just people, and he couldn't care less about anything else.
He does say he likes Way, but
only in a certain
later
way.
on. Yeah, but no, he didn't want to have to do what he has to do.
Was that unintentional?
You bet your ass it was.
You bet it was, and I was just ignoring it like it was normal. But
respect to the man.
No, he does make a point of saying he likes Way. How about you?
Episode 6, I'm trying to remember whatever scenes from that one. Amos scenes are always a go-to for that. So his little interactions with Way and Amos are always good to go-tos for that. The random scene with Amos in episode 7 with that kid where he's talking to him about him seeing green. That was a scene, and Amos clicking with Amos like, oh, this kid's blind.
Everything's green.
I found that to be a really touching scene.
And then
Amos went so far as to take his glove off.
Yeah.
To grab, so the kid had actual contact, not just big, ugly, scary gloves that he couldn't see. He felt human hand and holding his hand. And I'm like, coming from Amos, I got a little flash on that the first time.
Amos knows what to do with the situation. Going back to the very beginning of episode 6, whenever they get the news about the island blowing up and Holden's trying to call him everybody, he just shoots up in the air and just says very calm, Cap's got something to say.
Yep.
And then this scene at the very end on the island, where the one he finds the one guy dead, and he starts blaming the colonists, and he starts drowning them, and then all of a sudden, Slug falls on his face, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And it's that part, like, "Oh, they are following the books."
Yeah,
mostly, yeah.
I was kind of wondering if they were actually going to have the slugs. Is kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Well, and in the books, the slugs come up from underneath as opposed to falling from heaven. But well,
they are in the ruins.
In the book, though, the shockwave was enough to level the settlement. Alone, the shockwave alone, they didn't need a tsunami to level the settlement. So, there's a number of those things that are shifted. Death from above seems a bit more scary than death coming up out of the ground.
And there's the whole thing about the temporary structures, and the slugs are climbing up walls and all that crap.
So
I wanted to step back to Amos and the boy
Yep.
for a moment,
Mhm.
because in the books, as I remember, Amos goes out after the storm comes through looking for a family because they had a little girl.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which follows his theme of, helping
Children.
Dax or Prax,
Mhm.
find his daughter. So I thought tying in the boy to kind of take the place of the girl in the book was a nice little touch as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, they merged her place into that. My favorite scene in which episode? Displacement, episode 6. It's Bobby stuff, but it's before the job. It's that scene where they meet to split up the money, and then that other guy comes in, and they, just there's so much byplay going on without dialogue. I
Mhm.
mean, the toast, Lily tinks with Isai, and Isai tinks with Bobby. Bobby kind of hovers like she's waiting to see what Lily does, and Lily just and Bobby just takes her drink, and then Lily tries to hold Isai's hand. He pats her hand and then kind of pushes her hand away, and you watch the smile on her face just fade.
Mhm.
And the two of them, Bobby and her, looking at each other, just that scene is just brilliant. And it made me laugh watching it. And then the new guy comes in, and Bobby's like Bobby Draper, and I'm like,
I don't care.
how naive is she? She doesn't understand. You're working in the underworld. Nobody wants to know your name. Nobody
mean-
wants you to know their name.
But
And
she might assume everyone already knows who she is because she's the most famous disgraced Martian there is.
there's that point. There's that point. But people who don't know her, those who don't watch TV
Fair.
or watch the news. To paraphrase a line in the book.
They don't just beam the news right in their head on Mars.
Apparently
No.
not.
They beam everything else to your brain in Mars, it seems like.
So
My God, an authoritarian state, if I ever saw one in this series.
So Glenn, I just did want to ask you something. You said you liked the slugs falling down from above than coming up from below.
Yeah.
So you're not a fan of Tremors then? That's very Tremors.
Oh, no, I like the Tremors movies, but I think in this context, the slugs falling from above is a bit scarier than having them come up from below the ground.
Fair
Tremors is next season.
Yeah. Now, if the slugs were big, or if everybody was barefoot, but they all got shoes and boots on, so they can stomp on the slugs coming up from the ground.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. True.
Matter of fact, they do it in the book.
I did remember that.
Yeah, so the new guy comes along, and he so did not want to know who Bobby was. I also, there's a couple lines in that episode, and the dialogue is like, "What's Plan C?" When the moon starts melting, and the thing is, "What's Plan C?" And it's, "We'll figure it out. We don't have a lot of time. We'll figure it out fast." And I'm like,
Well,
yeah.
Speaking
That
of
was
the
planned.
moon melting,
Amos.
That was Plan
Moon
D.
melting.
Plan C was everyone dies.
speaking
yeah.
of the moon melting,
Yeah.
has that happened yet in the show?
Yes, that
Yes.
happens in this episode.
Okay.
End of episode 6, I think.
Because I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
they actually mentioned the moon melting or not.
Yeah, they
And
show it, and it's a line over the radio when Murphy's like, "What?" And the guy, he's talking to somebody on the ship, and what's going on with the moon? Scientists are looking into it. They think the moon's melting, and that's
Okay.
all we get.
That's why I missed it then.
That happens a lot earlier in the book than it does with these events.
Yeah.
So I missed
the
it in
other
the book
dialogue-
until I read it back over again twice. I'm like, oh, the moon's melting. Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
Just no big deal.
The other set of dialogue from this episode I really liked. Naomi is talking to Jim on the radio, and she says, "I should be down there with you." And Holden's like, "It makes me feel better that you're not. Same to you, Alex." And then Alex goes, "Oh, it was understood." And I just
Yeah.
love the way how Alex Kamal says that. And I'm only going to call him Alex Kamal, not mention the actor's name. But I just love the way he said that. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I got it. I was amused by it. Episode 7, favorite scene. I was touched by the Amos, and I think his name is Chike, the kid, little boy. His name is Chike, Chike.
Yeah.
But I really love, Elvie and Holden talking about Miller, and she's trying to he's trying to explain to her how not good, it's miserable, and she's like, every scientist in the world would gladly trade places with you, and he couldn't understand that, but she can't understand why he doesn't want it. So I don't know. I really enjoyed that scene.
I thought he could explain it much better, but
yeah.
Can we talk about his scene with Lucia? I think it was, where he's talking about how he got his son sand for his 5th birthday. Because that was not in the books, and that was some great dialogue.
Yeah, it was. It's nice to see them opening up, and in a parallel, you have Naomi talking with Felsia. So you have, and both of these serve the same purpose. I thought it was a nicely done bit of not role reversal, but parallel work between those. It's almost making the Rossi crew sound a little too much or too smart and sophisticated, like they know it all, but it's still not a bad approach.
Well, Naomi is probably one of the smartest people in the solar system.
That's
the
fair.
books kind of make it pretty clear. Reading the entire series, it's pretty clear she's probably one of the smartest people in the system.
Just not with men.
Well, no.
Are you saying
everybody's got to
Holden
have
is
something
useless?
they're not smart. First boyfriend.
I mean, that's a heck
Baby
of a
daddy.
pick for a first boyfriend.
And then look at her
Yeah,
second.
baby
He just fucks up the universe.
Well, and even the second boyfriend causes her no end of consternation too.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the idiot always wants to try and do the right thing, no matter how stupid an idea that is.
And he
just
might
get
have
a kick out of
inadvertently, caused the ring gates opening, maybe, possibly.
Which book was it that Amos says, "Well, look, Cap, not like it's rocket science," and in actuality, it really, literally was rocket science. And to Amos, it's just like, you can almost get this idea of Amos is just like the mechanic. You don't expect the mechanic to have a PhD in automotive engineering, but this is a guy who's literally doing rocket science on the ship he's living in. That's pretty much PhD in engineering, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And just it doesn't seem like Amos is the guy to do that, because he's just his other personality traits don't make it seem like he's the genius type. But he is pretty freaking smart. That's my point. Is these guys are pretty much really smart.
Was it in the show or in the book where Amos says, "I'm the only guy who can fix the coffee maker"?
Probably
I think that was in the books.
Because that was a great line.
Yeah.
I wonder if that means he's the one that sets the time.
Probably.
Oh.
Do they have daylight savings time and space?
What was that?
Do they have daylight savings time and space?
Well, the government is useless, so probably.
Just like
imagine
ketamine. Our next question has to do with did the quality of production, cinematography, special effects affect this episode? Best examples of cinematography in this episode, special effects, etc. Any special musical scores there, Mitch? It came for these episodes.
All I hear is the same process. If you have a conversation going, it starts out with basically no background, and then the music builds up till the conversation ends, and then it drops back down. So that's something that's been very consistent that I've noticed.
No Vader's theme sound for Alice Laura.
No, they couldn't get the license for that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, I don't know if she's full on Vader, but she's on her way. I haven't finished the series yet, so
What's her theme
Love
song
Alice
though?
Miller.
Like she's got to have her own theme song for the show by now.
I don't know.
oh
I don't know her theme or motif. I haven't paid attention to that.
no.
I'm pretty much always praising the series and the production side,
Mhm.
but there's actually something I really don't care for on the production side.
Mhm.
And a couple of things. In episode 7, I would personally find it oppressive and miserable and dreary living in a house where the walls of the living room look like concrete, like the place Avasarala was having that meeting, when Arjun came down the stairs. That looks like concrete walls.
Mhm.
And I could not live in a room, have a living room that was concrete walls. That would just, there's something wrong about that to me. So I didn't like that set decoration choice. The other thing is, okay, yeah, the green things in the eyes, that's canonical to the book. Book does not give a color to the slugs, that I remember.
I don't think so.
But everything is green in the ruins because you've got the green in the eyes, but they also have all the lighting that they use is this yellowish green, RG pipe lighting, and that's just sickly greenish yellow color. And then the slugs are like this sickly greenish white color, and it's just too much ugly green in this episode in this sequence. And I think it's part of why I don't like the stuff on Illis, especially this part here. I find it unsettling. All the color, that yellowish green everywhere just unsettles me. That might be what they're going after, but
That's what I was going to say.
Well, like I took that as slug trails.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that is
exactly
slug trails, but slugs. But the lighting that they have running down the hallways are these ropes of I want to say fiber optics, but it's not. It's like probably RGB lighting inside, and it's this green, and they just got it strung as lights down all the hallways down under the ruins. You probably don't have you probably don't have a picture that'll catch it. I should have caught one for you.
I didn't pick up on the green and the rope lighting, but
it really just I found it. Maybe I was too high watching it, and the color just sat wrong with me. I don't know.
Fair.
It just.
I don't know. I'm gonna say those brake lights that you have typically are just green unless you add a dye to it. Because it's like what do you call it, biochemical reaction or whatever.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. And green is a sickly color that people are generally going to be not going to like, and so
especially those shades of green.
Yeah, I think that works towards the feeling that they were trying to project to us.
I think maybe too much. I don't know. For me, it was too much, but I can understand. I just didn't like it.
Okay,
which is weird because I usually love everything on the production side of this show. So I think it's completely fair that I find too little details to bitch about for the first time on production side.
I would have to say this is something that's impressed me with the show overall, since so much of the show does take place in space or in tight spots. The night lighting is fantastic. You can actually see everything that's going on, unlike many other shows.
Right.
I like that. I'm like, oh, this is actually. I like being able to see the characters. I like being able to see what's going on, and it feels. I was like, this is how the scene would be lit. Even with that green rope lighting.
Yeah, particularly if it's something that's going to be on or primarily viewed on a TV screen. You can get away with dark scenes in a theater, but you can't get away with it on TVs that never go fully black. Number one. And the contrast, you're just not going to get a good contrast to be able to differentiate things. Personally, I hate it when it's a night scene and I can't tell what's going on. You have any light on in the room, forget seeing any subtle details. So
Right.
I agree with you. I think they do a much better job here than on
It'd
most
be
shows.
nice.
Looking at you,
It would be
Percy
nice
Jackson.
if streaming services would allow you to adjust the brightness of the stream that you're viewing. Like a media player on your computer would let you do.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to be able to do that. Because I'd like to be able to up the brightness on just the video I'm watching and not my entire screen, because I don't deal with bright light that well.
Well, unfortunately, it's not
Not
going
for
to
long.
fix the issue. But
Right. Now, I did have a special effects gripe. I thought the flooding scenes were horrid.
Okay, fair enough.
Something wasn't right. I don't know if it was the wrong speed with miniatures and actual water, not miniatures, or if it was just bad CG. I couldn't quite tell, or not quite right CG. The timing seemed it just didn't. It didn't feel like a large amount of water washing over large objects. Put it that way.
I think the music also had something to do with that. I don't think the music was intense enough for that. I thought the music was good, but it didn't seem urgent enough. Like, hey, we are running out of time. This water is rushing at us. As type of music.
that might literally be exactly what it was. They had one shot, literally.
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, when you're building a miniature and you're going to wipe it out with the flood, yeah, it's you're only going to get one shot at it unless you want to spend a lot of money.
It's easier to put it back together. It's easier to put that kind of miniature back together than like the ones you explode.
No, that's true.
It just depends on how good you are at jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah. I do think it was probably just I think it was CG. I'm pretty sure it was CG. It just the time that things didn't move and something seemed off. I don't know exactly what, but it just seemed off watching it.
Okay.
But for all I know, it could have been miniatures, and I'll read an article later tonight. Oh, yep, it was miniatures, and Glenn will be like, "Yep, I have toe. I was wrong."
No,
actually, I had 10 of them.
I'm pretty sure they were miniatures, or at least that overhead shot of the village getting wiped out.
That
was
definitely
miniature.
probably was.
Yeah,
that was probably the was. But I think some of the other shots with looking down, like when it hits the ruins, that was CG.
You telling me those weren't real ruins, Glenn?
No. Hey, Winter's Lady, how you doing? Didn't see you come in. Oh, okay. I saw that was going on. I hope you guys had fun with that tonight. It looked like a lot of people were there watching season 1 rewatch. All right, where are we at, Max?
Well, if no one has anything else, our next is best actor or worst actor for these episodes. I don't think anyone really has a worst actor.
You'd be wrong.
Well, you do. I would.
Without picking on a kid, I don't.
What? You're going to be picking on Alex Lara? What?
No.
Wow.
No, Glenn's right. I'm picking on a kid. I found Felsia's character very one-dimensional and very boring in both episodes. I just could not get behind her performance.
It's not the kid I was thinking of, but I don't expect children to be good actors.
Well, this girl's not exactly a child, but
no,
I think she was 18 or 19 at the time when she filmed this.
Plenty of time to get good at your craft.
Yeah,
unless she's new.
I do.
All right. Let me find my notes.
I thought perhaps some of the scenes in for the drowning, when that one RCE guy grabs Scotty and drags him over and going to drown him, then Scotty gets up. I thought all of the actors there did such a really great job, a very believable job of, I just got hit in the head. Don't know what's going on. This other guy's manhandling me, and the bald guy he was killer. I thought he was great. I don't know his name or anything, but I don't think I've got him on here.
I know the dead guy is Liam.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. Liam is the only name I caught amongst those three who died.
But yes, you're right.
The belter was Scotty. Was Scotty? I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Scotty. Yeah.
While he's looking that up, I go with
I don't
3
got it.
every episode, and my 3. I mean, Ashford, David Strathairn was really good in episode 6. He's actually really good every time he plays Ashford. Steve McCarthy as Jacob. Jacob. I'm not sure if it's Jacob or Jacob. That's the Bashia replacement. Since we had Bashia in season 3 on Ganymede. Or was it season 2 on Ganymede? It was season 2 on Ganymede. We had Bashia before, and this is a different family. This isn't Lucia and Felcia Merton, it's Mazan. So it's a different last name even. But then my number 1 for the episode 6 is Frankie Adams as Bobby.
That's a completely valid.
So, did you guys have ones for the second episode? Or next, what did you have for the first?
Oh, trying to think here. Episode 6.
That would be the first one we did.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of that.
I mean, I know your go-to is always Wes Chatham, but
Right?
He's going to say Burn Gorman. Who does put
I've
on a
been
good
saying
role.
Burt Gorman a lot this season. Almost every episode
I mean,
brought
I
him up
can't
as-
stand his character, but he's doing a great job of selling it. Like,
Yeah.
Let's see.
What you got there, Max?
Let's see. I'm trying to think here. For episode
Think out
6
loud.
specifically. Trying to remember, was Marcos actually in this episode, or is it the prior one?
Nope.
Nope.
That was prior one.
Prior episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at the
Just a
credits,
still
listing
picture
them
of him.
in here. I'm like, that don't.
I
seem
think
right.
I think a shot of his
his
face was
picture.
in 6 and 7.
That's probably why I was in there. I'm like, that don't seem right. All right. Because Alice Lara was great, but let's just say Alice Large is always a safe one.
Specifically her reaction at the end of episode 7 when she turns around and sees everybody's heart monitors going and flat, and she just has that "oh fuck" look on her face.
Yeah.
Or whenever she's going off on her consultants
Right?
Oh.
and her husband. Can we nominate him for worst actor? I'm just kidding. I like Darcy.
Oh, see, and for episode 7, I've got Show Ray down as, my 2 or 3, number 2 or 3 as Christian. Lindy Greenwood as Elvie. I love Lindy Greenwood.
Love
She's
her.
great. She's great. But I really like Michael Benyere as Arjun this season. I like what he did in episode 7. I really liked how him and Show Ray work off of each other. I liked his little lecture in front of the students, which I gotta wonder, are they students at a cult? Because they're all wearing the same uniform, basically. All wearing this all black. All of them. And I was like, that's kind of creepy.
I mean, he was
entire
using the
classroom
Roman.
of students are all dressed in black.
He was using the Roman names for some of the characters, so it's very possible it was a cult.
Yeah, who knows?
That's how
He's teaching at some university there.
that's how nerdy I'm going to get
That
here.
was a really small classroom too.
A dozen students.
I mean, yeah,
No,
I'd love to have a class.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here. It seems to me that a lot of the way he acts and the way he moves and such, it's almost like he is up on UN1 weightless, even though he's in his classroom. Just the way he tends to move and such. It's like everything's such a careful motion. And I don't know if he's overthinking it while he's doing his acting or if that's an
I
intentional.
didn't pick up on that.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an attribute he's giving the character or if he's, introducing that accidentally.
I don't know. I didn't notice that. I'll watch for it.
Yeah. Well, it's bugged me every time I've seen it. So it's
Okay.
always been up front for me.
Okay.
Who'd you have for episode 7, Mitch?
For 7, I really do like Kara G.
Thank you.
She's not in there a lot. She has her conversation with
Ashford.
Ashford. Thank you,
Ashford.
God.
Clace.
Yeah, brain dead.
That happens.
And the looks that she gets, the eye motion, all the little subtleties that she is just so good at. She's just a dear.
Her and Ashford together are a great duo. Individually, their characters are also great, but anytime they share the scene together, it steals the scene.
Yeah, and they're so natural together as well.
Oh yeah,
because they'll jump in, they'll cut each other off mid-sentence and things, and it's just like it's a natural conversation for them, and they do it so well.
Oh yeah,
I said it in a past season of this. I really do think that David Strathairn might just be the best actor this show has ever had.
Well, I love him in everything.
I think it was a hell of a catch getting him.
He's been in some big movies, so for him to come down and do The Expanse on this limited roles, yeah, I'll give you credit for that one.
I mean, he was only supposed to be on season 3, and he had such a good time. He asked the producers and writers, "Could I get more?" And they like, "Yeah, we'll give you more. You'll come back, sure." Okay.
Yes,
we get more David Strathairn. Do we really deserve more David Strathairn? What would we do to be so lucky? I can only imagine that was going through their heads. Because, he's just... I'm a big fan of his, needless to say. I think he's brilliant. And I still think he would have been the perfect Tom Maryland.
Oh, he would have been so good as Tom Maryland. But this was very Noah Vosen, how he was playing this role.
Yeah.
Bourne Ultimatum.
Okay. I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
no, never saw it.
Oh, those are 3 amazing movies. He's in the second and third one.
I've seen parts of the first. I'll have to watch those.
Oh, you got David Strathairn in it. That's reason enough to watch it.
Yeah, it is. So who'd you have for 7? Yeah.
Avasarala.
Okay.
Avasarala, Kamina, and Ashford.
That's a good 3 to pick.
Maybe a little bit of LV, because LV's fun.
I'm curious, what do you think of the actress playing Wei?
I think she does a good job of switching her roles. Oh, it's because she's having fun with Amos, but she's ready to drop him on a moment's notice if Murtry. And you can just get that vibe from her. Like, this is just for fun. I am a professional.
Right.
Glad you brought that up, because I meant to say something about that a little while ago. But Wei is doing fantastic.
Yeah, I think sometimes she nails it, and other times she looks uncomfortable. I don't know if that's, as I said before, is that the attribute she wants to give the character at that moment, or if is it just it doesn't feel right?
It's the you've never had to buy my loyalty before. That scene. Yeah,
that one was kind of, the way she uses her face there. She's not looking him in the eye. She looks away and then looks back. Things like that. I mean, is it something an indication that maybe she's got other ideas or could have other ideas, or is it just she doesn't want to look him in the face at that moment?
I think there was an intentional choice. I think she's like, really, we're doing this now, kind of a thing. That's why she doesn't want to look him in the eye. Like I hate that you're dragging my personal life into this.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't think of that aspect of it.
It's like, My personal life isn't a problem, and I'll make sure it doesn't become one. It's basically what she was trying to give him there.
Yeah, I think Murtry is the kind of person who doesn't have there is no delineation between work and personal life, that it's all about the job for Murtry. I think that's kind of something that he might not be able to comprehend. Being able to.
I know it wasn't these 2 episodes, but in the previous episode, when he's at the tavern and drinking, he's eyeballing everybody the entire time, making sure there's not a threat. So I think you're right. He's always on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him doing anything other than that. Even in the book, he's always on. Even when he's blind.
That would have been the perfect time to off him because nobody could have complained.
Yeah, I know.
I know
Holden had so many missed opportunities here.
He
And if Murtry just disappeared, things.
What a
would have
boring
worked out
show
lot
it would
easier.
be. What a boring show it
and
would
we would
be.
have been robbed of
I know.
performances. But
I know.
he still needed to be shot a long time ago.
Shooting him's too nice. Drop a slug in his face.
See, that's too quick. I mean, yeah, it's going to be
There's
painful,
that.
but it's over in 30 seconds. Or was it like 10 seconds?
It seemed to go pretty quick. Even in the books, I think the reaction time was 10, 15 seconds.
It's like, oh, hey, he's
Yeah.
dead. It's how it goes.
Yep. All right, Max, where are we at?
All right. Well, I never did episode 7 actor for me because I did only episode 6. Since I did mention episode 6, since everyone's hating on child actors, I'll say Ashford's baby was a horrible actor.
That 3D performance just didn't convince you, did it?
No.
That was cold-hearted, and I approve.
Episode 7, I'll just say Amos because have to go Amos. And the slugs.
The slugs were a better actor than Felsia.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That happens.
Cruel.
Hey, if he can hit on the baby,
Max
I
has
can
a
hit on the
tendency
teenager.
Yeah, Max has a tendency to bring up inanimate objects, so we didn't get one of those. But we got slugs this time instead.
I mean, are they actually alive?
Yes, you saw the movie.
Are we sure?
Yeah, I saw it move. It was animate.
Are they self-aware?
Well, are they alive?
That we don't know.
That's the question.
I don't know.
They may be
I didn't
animate.
say
but are
alive.
they
I said animate. It was animate.
That's fair.
All right.
All
The
right.
last question is Glenn's favorite. What's your favorite espresso? No.
Mocha.
Themes. Themes for the night. Themes of this episode.
What'd you find, Max?
Everything gets worse.
That's fair. That is fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, these episodes do kind of say that, don't they?
It reaches out, and it gets worse.
Shit rolls
How many
downhill.
times does it reach out?
113 times a second.
Yeah. I would
you.
say you need to be aware of who you're slugging.
Okay.
Like I said, shit
Right
rolls
spot
downhill.
there.
That was. What's another one? That's another good theme of don't burn too bright.
I didn't find much. Well, I found 1, 2, how you, depending if you want to split them up for episode 6. And it was basically trust and betrayal. Mostly trust, but there was a bit of betrayal going on there. I mean, there was trust with Esai trusting Bobby to be his backup. At that deal that was being done there in the concourse. And there was, the guy he was doing the deal with, who he was supposed to be trusting, actually tried to betray him.
Mm-hmm.
But we see Lucy or Felsia sees her mother as having betrayed her and her dad by killing, by blowing up the landing pad. There's several other instances where, trust was given, and then trust was betrayed. I had them written down on another tab, and I lost it, so I don't have the rest of them. But Mitch, what'd you think on episode 6?
Well, for me, I think it was a matter of the truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Felsia gets exposed to a very deep and hurtful truth. Her mother is a mass murderer. But then other truths come through, and particularly with the conversations we brought up earlier that Alex has with Lucia and that Naomi has with Felsia. Those are the post-truths that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Or that make you hurt inside. It doesn't make you mad. It's the ones where you end up hurting inside. So I would say the truth hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
I would say one is desperation. The Belters are desperate to start over, or Mercury is desperate to hold on to his position, and then Avasarala is desperate to win because she doesn't know how to lose. That whole conversation with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Then once they're inside the ruins, and Way and Amos have that conversation of things are about to get ugly because people are desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were the names of these 2 episodes again?
Displacement and A Shot in the Dark.
Okay.
I mean, pretty good episode.
A lot of displacement and displacement. That's always a good thing to pay attention to on this show, because this show does its titles are usually always thematically relevant. Oh, hey, you missed it all, Bill. You missed it all. Yeah, you missed it all.
And we missed
and half
you.
the cast was in the. Yeah, we missed you too. Half the cast was in chat and said we were spot on. They said, "Don't let that Bill guy back on, though."
That's true. We all saw it.
Yep. You can scroll up. It's there. Oh no, wait, I deleted those. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. So, any other themes, you guys, for episode 6? Got to keep it separate from 7 because the episodes themes tend to be episodic. One theme focused more on than another.
That's
all right.
Then mine, I was talking about episode 7, so I'm already
that's
there.
Fine. All right. The only thing I really picked up, that's exactly what I have on mine for episodes. I was being truthful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with you on that. When you said that, I thought you were looking at 6, but yeah, it's definitely very appropriate for 7. Why is my phone going off? Ooh.
Matt was texting.
Sorry. No.
Yeah.
No. Might have been. That is one of the sounds of that. BB-8 is one of the ringtones for my texting. So. All right. Any other notes or things that anybody wanted to bring up, discuss?
I think we hit it all. This was a good conversation tonight.
Yeah.
It's been a good one, yes. All around. All right. Well, Sean, thank you for coming back. Sorry it took so long to get you back, but I'm definitely planning on having you here for season 5.
Looking forward to it.
You'll have to sit next to Mitch again. Mitch will be here with us for season 5 too. So
I like Mitch. He was on my side.
Well, he's the investigator right now, but yeah, Max, thank you as always for running the show, keeping everything going. And Mitch, again, always thanking you for coming on for the season. I love talking with you, and gives me more chance to do that every time you come on. So, and thank you guys at home for watching. Even you, Bill. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Winner's Lady. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Wade Leaf, all of you for stopping in, saying hi. Hope to see you guys soon. Please come back next week as we discuss what episode title is it next. Do you know? Offhand?
Just had it up.
It's somewhere.
One-Eyed Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
One-Eyed Man. Okay, wonder what that episode's about. We'll be discussing that next week. Yeah. So thanks for watching. please come back, leave us a like, and could you subscribe? That would help. And don't forget to be awesome.
Bye.
Bye.